Storm moving into Davidson and Williamson County.
From Sniper Alley. And tonight, the Packwood case. Can a powerful politician be punished? Richard Threlkeld has our eye on America.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Good evening. The nation's physicians came out today with a major health warning for young Americans and their parents. The doctors say there's an epidemic of violence, teen pregnancy, drug and alcohol abuse, and the prognosis isn't good. Correspondent Wyatt Andrews has more about America's problems with troubled teens.
Ask the teenagers who hang out in the Charlestown section of Boston.
I'm afraid to walk home by myself.
And they'll paint a portrait of the violent life of the American teen.
I think there's more violence coming and coming every day.
A lot of my friends get really violent when they drink alcohol.
Their perceptions mirror a study published today in the Journal of the American Medical Association, documenting how violence permeates the teenage experience, looking at everything from schoolyard fights to murder. The study, which amounts to a report card, says 1 in 4 Americans aged 10 to 16 was abused or assaulted within the last year. Dr. Michelle Wilson is the pediatrician who compiled the study.
We do know that a portion of that violence is significant violence.
One startling finding, 1 in 10 teenagers reports being sexually abused before the 10th grade. And if sexual abuse isn't bad enough,
those teenagers who had been victims of sexual assault and abuse were more likely to use illicit drugs.
Marijuana was the kick last year.
They're more likely for the girls to become pregnant.
You walk down the street and everyone has a baby carriage with their baby in it, and it's like, I went to school with them, you know.
all of which the study confirms. Marijuana use, it says, has doubled since 1991. A high rate of teen pregnancies, at least 1.1 million a year, has been recorded since 91. And have teens gotten the message they should always use condoms?
No.
These statistics represent terrible realities, but the researchers could not say whether sexual abuse, teen pregnancies, or assaults were on the rise. And the term assault was defined very loosely as anything from domestic abuse to rape.
I've been in fights. I've been stabbed before.
Still, most of the teens we spoke to at Empower, a teen self-defense program in the suburbs of Maryland, said they had seen violence firsthand.
We were standing there, and you saw the gun, and the kid, you know, he had it in his pocket.
This is at a
private school
where your parents pay lots of money to go to?
Definitely.
On its only positive note, the study says teenagers whose parents are actively involved in their lives are more likely to stay off drugs and stay safe. Otherwise, the report is damning documentation of how the nation's social decline threatens the young. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Washington.
President Clinton said today that America's children overall, quote, are subjected to far higher rates of violence in the U.S. than they would be in any other country in the world, unquote. The president made that comment as he criticized Republican plans to downgrade welfare help for the poor as a ploy to bankroll tax breaks for the rich. More from White House correspondent Rita Braver.
The White House is working hard to regroup after the president's shifting pronouncements on Bosnia, what one official here called one of the worst screw-ups in the history of the administration. Today in Baltimore, Mr. Clinton tried to refocus on domestic issues. He told governors that Republican plans to combine funds for welfare and other programs will end up hurting the nation's poorest children, who lack powerful lobbyists.
But if you put this welfare reform block grant with less money and no local maintenance requirement up against the Medicaid cuts and the education cuts and the other things that are in this budget, you tell me how the poor children of your state are going to fare.
But despite his tough stance on welfare, President Clinton is having a harder time showing leadership on some other key domestic programs. He has still not unveiled his long-promised affirmative action review, and the White House is playing coy about how it plans to respond to the Republican budget proposal for next year.
We're ducking the question for now. Yeah.